So today I'll talk about nutrition, nutraceuticals, and other nonsense. Our agenda for today, nutrition, specifically mostly vitamins and minerals, and why they're important to take. Nutraceuticals, we're going to focus mostly on probiotics, omega-3 fatty acids, and other herbal products that might be out there on the market. And then we'll talk about some nonsense. So we'll be talking about the fat-soluble vitamins, vitamins A, D, E, and K, which are very important for people who have cystic fibrosis. And the first one we'll talk about is vitamin A. So vitamin A is a fat-soluble vitamin, meaning that when you eat foods or you take a supplement with vitamin A, you have to really take it with a little bit of fat so it can be absorbed into your intestines, and get to the rest of your body. With vitamin A, it happens to go and be stored in your liver. There's two different forms that I'll talk about with vitamin A. It's retinol and also the carotenoids, specifically beta-carotene, which you might have heard more about. Retinol is preformed, and if you get too much of it, it can also cause problems with your bone and your bones in your liver. Carotenoids, they have to be changed in the body, so you digest beta-carotene and then it has to be converted into vitamin A to be able to be stored in that liver. It's mostly used as a good antioxidant. You can, this really helps with your vision, bone and teeth formation, also your cell function and immunity as well. It's very important for patients with cystic fibrosis because it helps to fight the infection in the lining of your lungs, and it helps to keep your intestines nice and healthy as well. If you have a deficiency of vitamin A, it can cause night blindness. You also might have a loss of appetite, and you can also be at risk for infections as well. You can get vitamin A through your food. Retinol is one of the forms, and that's mostly found in those animal products, so like your liver, like eating liver, like maybe chicken liver, whole milk, and also egg yolks as well. Beta-carotene you can get through those plant foods, mostly like your carrots or sweet potato, cantaloupe, and also it's found in broccoli too. We will talk about the vitamin dosing at the end of this vitamin section. So vitamin E is also a fat-soluble vitamin. Oops, can you back up? Oh, vitamin D, gotcha. We are at vitamin D. So vitamin D, this helps mostly to maintain your strong bones and teeth. If you don't have enough vitamin D, it can cause you to have thin and brittle bones, and it can lead to osteoporosis. It's known as that sunshine vitamin because our body can make its own vitamin D through getting sunlight. So when the sunlight hits your skin, like your hands or your face, your body makes its own vitamin D, and it also can help with your mood. It's found also in mackerel, canned sardines, fortified milk, orange juice, mostly fortified orange juices, and also fish liver oil supplements, which we'll talk about more in a little bit. Vitamin E, another fat-soluble vitamin. The form of it is called alpha-tocopherol. It's a very strong antioxidant, and it also helps to keep your red blood cells very nice and healthy. And it can also help to fight those infections in lungs, and it helps your intestines keep them nice and healthy as well. If you have too little vitamin E, this can lead to problems with your muscles and your nerves. You can mostly get vitamin E through your diet by eating nuts and seeds, wheat germ, also vegetable oils, and it's in those green leafy vegetables. How much, we'll talk about that in a little bit. Vitamin K, the last one we'll talk about, is that really it helps the blood to clot. And so it also helps with your bone health as well. And if you have too little of that vitamin K, it really can take longer for your blood to clot, and that can eventually cause problems. Mostly in those green leafy vegetables, dark green leafy vegetables like maybe kale. And it's also there's bacteria in your intestines, and so that good gut bacteria can also make vitamin K. And it's important to know that antibiotics can destroy this bacteria in your gut. So it's important to take your supplements when you're on antibiotics. So these are the dosing guidelines brought forth by the Cystic Fibrosis Foundation. It is important to note that they're only used as a guideline. So talk with your CF center for specific amounts. Most likely, though, your CF-specific vitamins will cover these dosing guidelines. Minerals, we'll talk about calcium, iron, and zinc. Calcium, if you have too much, excess. Actually, is there one slide before that? Calcium. It's the most abundant mineral in the body, and it's essential, so we have to get it through our food. It really helps to keep our bones nice and strong and our teeth nice and strong as well, and it helps keep our muscles and nerves working too. If we have too little calcium from our diet, our body will take it from our bones, which can lead to osteopenia, which then leads to osteoporosis. If we have too much, this can interfere with the absorption of other minerals and also some antibiotics as well. How much do you need? If you look at the chart, it's by age and how many milligrams of calcium is recommended. You can get your calcium through your dairy food and your beverages, so like milk and yogurt and kefir as well. But it's also in those dark green leafy vegetables as well, or dark green vegetables like broccoli. It's also fortified in orange juice, and it's also found in those breakfast cereals as well. That's the fortified breakfast cereals. Iron is also an essential mineral. It's found in the blood, and it really helps to carry that oxygen from the lungs to all the cells in your body. Anemia is defined as not having enough iron in those blood cells, and then iron deficiency anemia is when you don't have enough iron from your diet. The anemia of chronic inflammation is when it's from having a chronic infection. These are the amounts of iron that are recommended for people. There is a risk of getting too much iron, and especially if you're taking supplements. So it is important to make sure you talk with your CF care team about how much you should have and if you're getting too much. There's different forms of iron, heme and non-heme. Heme are mostly from those animal proteins like beef, and it's very easily absorbed. Non-heme are from those plant foods or non-animal products. And they are from kidney beans, spinach, and also fortified cereals as well. Zinc, the last one we'll talk about, it's also an essential mineral, and it really helps to keep your body healthy. It plays a number of roles, such with growth, your taste, and your appetite. It helps you to fight infection. It can help heal wounds. And it also promotes sexual development, and also helps the liver release that vitamin A into the bloodstream when you need it. If you have too much, it can interfere with absorption of other minerals. These are the recommendations for the amount of zinc for people who do not have CF. You can get zinc through your diet, through those oysters, the beef, and other products. These are the different CF-specific vitamins. They basically, what they do is they make those fat-soluble vitamins A, D, E, and K more easily absorbable for those with CF. You might know these brands: Aquadex, Source CF Vitamax, and Polyvisol drops, mostly for children, which is a liquid supplement. And it's really important to remember to take your vitamins with food, because remember, it's that fat-soluble vitamin, so we really want it to be absorbed as well as possible. And we want to take them with our enzymes. If you have pancreatic insufficiency, it's really important to take them with the enzymes so then you can really absorb those vitamins. And also, you want to make sure that you separate them out. So if you're taking 2 a day, you want to take 1 in the morning with your breakfast and maybe 1 at night with your dinner. And that will also improve the absorption of them. So let's talk about nutraceuticals. We'll talk mostly about probiotics, omega-3 fatty acids, and those other herbal products. Nutraceuticals was a term that was coined from nutrition and pharmaceuticals and kind of smashed together. It was created in 1989 by Stephen DeFelice, who is the founder and chairman of the Foundation for Innovation in Medicine. This is his definition. It's any substance that is a food or a part of a food and provides medical or health benefits, including the prevention and treatment of disease. Such products may range from isolated nutrients, dietary supplements, and specific diets to genetically engineered designer foods, herbal products, and processed foods such as cereals, soups, and beverages. Then, the Health Canada modified this to say that it is a product isolated or purified from foods and generally sold in medicinal forms, not usually associated with food, and demonstrated to have a physiological benefit or provide protection against chronic diseases. Example, lycopene, which you might have heard, they say that might help prevent prostate cancer or heart disease. Merriam-Webster Dictionary now says it's a foodstuff that provides health benefits, such as a fortified food or a dietary supplement. So probiotics are live microorganisms. You might have heard them as being that good bacteria. We have that, and it might be beneficial to your health. Mostly probiotics are used with various GI conditions or gastrointestinal conditions, most notably with antibiotic use and when you have diarrhea from that. Sources include dietary supplements and also food supplements or food sources. And dietary supplements, there's 2 different forms that are most marketed out there, the lactobacillus and the bifidobacterium. The food includes yogurt and kefir. Kefir is like it's a yogurt drink that has a lot of different probiotics in it. The FDA has not approved any health claims, and there's not really too much strong evidence to support probiotic use. This is a study that I just wanted to show you. It says probiotic supplementation affects pulmonary exacerbations in patients with cystic fibrosis. This was a pilot study. I believe it was done in Israel. It was published in 2010. And it shows that 10 CF patients were taken with mild to moderate lung disease, and they had Pseudomonas, and they were treated with 2 commercial probiotic tablets per day for 6 months. There was a study done before that was done with Lactobacillus GG only, and so they decided to use a probiotic that had a mixture of different probiotics in it. There were 9 out of 10 patients received the regular preventative antibiotic treatment prior to and during the study. And the results showed that exacerbation rate was significantly reduced compared to 2 years before the study and 6 months after that study as well. However, there were no change in pulmonary function tests, sputum bacteria, neutrophil count, and interleukin-8 levels. In conclusion, they said probiotics reduce pulmonary exacerbation rate in patients with cystic fibrosis. Just to remember that this is a pilot study and there's only a small number of patients that were used. So really for this to be, it needs to be a large-scale placebo-controlled trial that has a longer treatment time and a longer follow-up time as well. So it's important just to note even though the studies are out there, they show really good promise, but we need to wait and have better studies. Omega-3 fatty acids is a group of polyunsaturated fatty acids. Those are those good heart-healthy fats. It really helps with a number of different bodily functions, and most notably, we might know it to help with reducing the risk of cardiovascular events, mostly if you have high triglycerides. So there's 3 different types of omega-3 fatty acids. EPA and DHA are the ones that are found in those fatty fish like salmon, mackerel, tuna, and cod liver, and it's also found in fish oil supplements as well. Alpha-linoleic acid, ALA, is that plant source. It's found in vegetable oils like canola oil and flaxseed as well, nuts and seeds, beans, and green leafy vegetables. It's been shown that if you have too much omega-3 fatty acids, if you take it in high levels, then it could cause a minor GI upset and interfere with some medications. But they are generally regarded as safe by the FDA, and it's important to know that more research does need to be done with those omega-3 fatty acids to see if there's any good benefits. So herbal products. We'll talk about 5 of them. There's hundreds of them out there. Most notably curcumin, betony, echinacea, ginger, and horehound. So curcumin is the component of the spice turmeric. It's what gives that really bright yellow color and that really strong taste as well. You can get the curcumin mostly in supplements, capsule form, and there's only been studies with cystic fibrosis mice. Usually the studies that are done with CF mice have the intestinal problems, but they don't have the lung problems. So what they say is that it helps to decrease inflammation, heartburn, and also maybe an upset stomach. There are mixed results with this, but there are ongoing studies as well. They also say that it has antioxidant effects, but there's little research and there's only some support with that as well. In terms of safety and risks, it may increase bleeding when used with anticoagulant drugs, and it may also decrease blood sugars when used with diabetes drugs. And if used in a high dose for a long-term time, it might cause stomach ulcers. Betony, it's been said that it helps to treat diarrhea. There's mixed results with this, and if it's taken higher than the manufacturer's recommended dose, it could cause irritation to your stomach. Echinacea, it's said to boost the immune system in healthy people, and the claim is not supported. It might prevent the common cold in children. However, there's mixed results in ongoing studies with this, and also it treats upper respiratory infections, and that claim is not supported either. I would use caution for people who have an allergy to the dandelion family. Also, that includes the ragweed family, or ragweed in general. And it's also not for people who have autoimmune disorders. Ginger. They say it helps to treat nausea and vomiting, and it's a supported claim. And it might help to treat motion sickness. However, there are mixed results, but more ongoing studies. Safety risks. It may increase the risk of bleeding when used with anticoagulant drugs, and it may lower blood sugar when on diabetes drugs, and it might also cause drowsiness. Horehound, it's said that it's a good tasting expectorant and a cough suppressant, and it might also help to boost your appetite. There's little research to support this, but there is some support to support this. However, it's good to not take it above those recommended doses because they say it might lead to heart problems, and also it's important not to use it while you're pregnant. So, on to the nonsense. there's a lot of dietary supplements out there, and it's really important to know that it's not monitored by the FDA. It's not approved by the FDA. The Dietary Supplement Health and Education Act in 1994 made sure that the dietary supplements were defined as intended to supplement the diet, contains one or more dietary ingredients such as vitamins, minerals, herbs, etc., or other constituents. It's intended to take by mouth in like capsule form or gel cap form or powder form. And the label has to be has to say it's a dietary supplement. So dietary supplements do not have to be approved by the FDA. So basically, before a product is put on the shelf, it doesn't have to go through safety and safety and effectiveness trials or research has to be done on it before it's put out. So in order for the manufacturers to say there's a health claim, they have to be able to say this statement on the outside of the bottle, that this statement has not been evaluated by the U.S. Food and Drug Administration, that this product is not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease. So it's good to look for that statement. And it's important to know that what's on the label might not be in the bottle just because it's not really regulated very well. And natural does not always mean safe. So if something says this is a natural product, it might still not be safe. So, Guide to Healthy Web Surfing. This is actually a handout that I will leave at the registration desk before I leave. Basically, it's ways to evaluate the quality of health information on websites. What it does is it really focuses on how to be a cyber skeptic, focusing on the quality of the information, making sure to look for the evidence, making sure to check the date of when it was produced. Beware of any bias, like if it was produced by a manufacturing company. And also protect your privacy and talk with your CF care team about before you're going to use a product as well. And lastly, these are resources for information. These are good websites to look up any of those products that you might be using or thinking of using. The Medline Plus Herbs and Supplements, National Center for Complementary and Alternative Medicine, and the National Institutes of Health Office of Dietary Supplements. The complementary and alternative medicine one would be a good one for the herbal supplements. And those are my references. And any questions?
Yeah. Question. A lot of people say that there's not a whole lot of studies on vitamins because they're pretty much free for curing different diseases and stuff. Is that like, is there a lot of studies on like what vitamins can do for like high doses? Mm-hmm. Like some people say high doses of like vitamin A or C can cure cancer or things like that. I didn't know if it was.
Well, there's been studies done with maybe the effectiveness of it, and if you can, there's upper levels of how much you can get. So there were studies that were done with that. So there are studies out there with them, but it is good to look it up too and stay within the guidelines. Yes?
Given all the positive documented effects of probiotics, why aren't they FDA approved?
Well, because as shown in that study, it was very small, it was a pilot study, and we need, in order for it to be approved or recommended, it needs to have a larger study and a better study. Probiotics are seen as a dietary supplement, so right now the FDA does not approve any dietary supplements.
Can I just clarify about that study? I thought probiotics were usually, just used to deal with the effects of antibiotics. I mean, that's how I might have used it before. So that study looked like it was actually saying probiotics had effect on, did it say lung function? I didn't understand.
Pulmonary exacerbations.
So what is that specifically? Because it doesn't, it's not exactly saying lung functioning, right?
Mhm.
But what does that mean, pulmonary exacerbation?
Well, it's mostly when a lot of it's when your lungs are not able to. Well, actually, maybe Dr. Zuckerman, you want to answer that? I mean,
Positive for your lungs.
I just know them as pulmonary exacerbations.
With an exacerbation, there's an acute overgrowth of bacteria.
Okay.
And there's usually a pretty big drop
Okay.
in lung function. It may not be permanent, but we think that the exacerbations are the things that cause the most damage over time. It's not like your lungs are just slowly going down. So anything that looks at reducing the frequency of exacerbation, we think is a very important
Okay,
thing.
so it's from
Yeah.
having a huge overgrowth of bacteria. Is that they were saying that the probiotic helped deal with that?
Yeah, I haven't really reviewed that
Okay.
literature carefully, but that would be the premise of it, is that
Okay.
if you can keep, normal bacteria there and prevent the growth of bacteria that are damaging to the lung
Okay.
or in the bowel, that's kind of the premise. But
Okay.
I'm just not aware of, Kathy, of some of the workshop. What?
The inflammation.
Yeah.
And reduction, like this omega, the fatty omegas, it's good to treat inflammation. So the flaring from the bacteria.
Thanks.
You're welcome. Any other questions? No? All right, well, thank you very much.